You feel uncertain about your next step as a leader, and you've convinced yourself it's about strategy or timing. But what if the real root of your uncertainty isn't about what to do, it's about who you believe you are? In this video, I'm going to help you trace uncertainty back to its source and finally move forward with real confidence. Uncertainty is not about information. Let me start with something direct. Uncertainty rarely comes from not knowing enough. Most high achieving leaders have more information than they need. You've read the frameworks, you've studied the case studies, you've listened to the podcast. The problem isn't data, it's something else entirely. Research from the Harvard Business Review found that 67% of leaders report feeling uncertain about key decisions despite having adequate information. The problem wasn't more data, it was something deeper. When you're uncertain, you're not uncertain about facts, you're uncertain about yourself. You're questioning whether you're the right person to make the decision, whether you have what it takes, whether you'll succeed if you commit. That's the real uncertainty you're dealing with. Stop gathering more information as a way to feel certain. You don't have a knowledge problem, you have a belief problem. Notice the difference. The three honest roots of uncertainty are these. These roots of uncertainty that I see in almost every leader I work with and coach, and I walk with through each one of these is about around your identity. Everything becomes clearer once you realize that. Root number one is this. You're uncertain because you're comparing yourself to someone else's version of success. You see other leaders, other entrepreneurs, other business owners who appear to be more confident, more successful, more certain. And you decide that means something is wrong with you. I had a client who was a seven-figure business owner. On the outside, everything looked great, but inside she was a fraud. She looked at other founders and thought, they know what they're doing. I'm just figuring out as I go. The uncertainty wasn't about her ability, it was about the story she was telling herself about what she looked like a successful person. Root number two is you're uncertain because you haven't processed a past failure or setbacks in your life, in your business. Something didn't work out as you expected. You made a decision that had consequences. And now you're protecting yourself by staying uncertain because uncertain people don't have to commit and fail again. Another client had launched a product that flopped. It cost him time, money, credibility. Years later, he's still hesitant to make bold decisions, not because he lacks the capability, because part of him was still afraid of that feeling, the shame, the embarrassment, the loss that uncertainty cost him. It's a protection mechanism for him. Root number three is you're uncertain because you're disconnected from your core values and, more importantly, your God-given identity. You're making decisions based on what you think you should do, what others would expect, or what looks good to the outside, but it doesn't align to who you are. So your gut keeps saying, I'm not sure about this. Which of these three resonates with you? Your honest answer matters because it determines what you need to address. Not more strategy, not better planning, but real internal alignment. Here's something most people won't tell you. Many high achievers use uncertainty as a cover story for their fears. They say, I'm being thoughtful, I'm being careful, I'm making sure I have all the information. Well, what they're really doing is avoiding commitment. You've learned to dress up uncertainty in the language of wisdom. You say, I want to be prudent when you mean I'm afraid. You say, I need more time to decide when you mean I'm not sure I can handle this. You say, I want to get it right when you mean I don't believe I'm capable. A study from the University of Michigan found that people who delayed decisions in the name of gathering more information, 40% more likely to be operating from a place of low confidence, low courage than high standards. Get honest about whether your uncertainty is actually wisdom or whether it's fear dressed up in professional language that you use. This distinction changes everything. The real path forward, uncertainty is about information, isn't about changes it. What actually is real confidence? First, you have to be willing to see yourself differently, not as someone who needs to figure it all out before you move, but as someone who is capable of learning, adapting as you go. The shift in your God given identity is where real confidence starts. Second, you have to process what's creating the uncertainty. If it's a past failure, if it's something that happened in your childhood, it's a loss. You have to grieve it. You have to learn from it. You have to release. You need to disconnect from the story and reconnect to the truth. If it's a misalignment with your beliefs, your values, your identity, then that you have to change that story. Third, you have to take action anyway. Confidence doesn't come from certainty, it comes from moving in courage and despite the uncertainty. Seeing that you can handle what comes and building evidence and courage to move you into more capability and belief. What's one decision you've been uncertain about that you know deep down you need to make? Not eventually, but now. Write that down right now and then ask yourself, is my uncertainty actually information, or is it about one of those three roots we talked about? Your honest answer is where real transformation begins. I want to leave you with a challenge today. I want to leave you with this challenge because I think you're ready for it. You've watched this far. For the next 7 days, I want you to notice every time you use uncertainty as a reason to delay. Every time you say, I need more information, or I want to think about it more, or I'm not sure yet, and I want you to ask yourself, is this actually needing more information or is this about fear? Because once you can name it, once you can see the difference between real caution and dressed up fear, you can start to make different choices. You can start to lead from confidence instead of uncertainty. This is the work, but not better strategy, not more information, but real honesty about what driving your uncertainty and finally move forward with clarity and confidence. Call to action. Take our assessment, our leadership assessment. I've created a short assessment and it will help you identify where your uncertainty and where your identity is at. And it will point you to the next steps going forward. If you're ready to move beyond uncertainty, step into real confidence as a leader, let's talk. I work with business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs who are ready to do the internal work. They've done all the external work. This creates lasting change. That'd be a conversation with me. You can subscribe to this channel. You can find me and connect, and we'll have that conversation. The clarity you need to lead from is a place of alignment in your God given identity.